Hey everybody, welcome back to the SuperBake podcast. I'm your host, Baker. Let's talk about stuff. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So recently I got a wild hair and I decided to go out and buy the deluxe edition for Berserk, the Berserk manga series. I've watched the original anime series from I think it was the late 90s. The slightly newer animated movies, the Golden Age arc that was I think it's on Netflix right now. That was basically sort of like a retelling of the original anime series. I haven't watched the 2017 anime though with the 3D animation. I heard it's not that good. So unfortunately, it looks like right now the manga is the only way to really, I guess, appreciate the story in full. So that's kind of what I've been wanting to read that story because I just keep hearing that it's amazing, and especially since the artist Miura passed away, fairly recently. I don't know why. Just for some reason, I got the need to want to read it. So, been reading the first volume. It's like one of those big deluxe editions, the ones with the black cover and stuff, the black leather cover. It's really cool. I got it from Barnes and Noble. I had a gift card for there, so I just went and picked it up. Got it for half price. It's really badass. I haven't collected a manga book in a while. This is my first one in several years, and this is my first real adult one. The last one I read before this was a few manga entries for One Piece and Naruto. So yeah, this is my first, I guess, big boy manga series that I've been reading. And yeah, it's really good. I'm not too far into it. I'm at the part where Guts first encounters the Count, the slug monster guy. Yeah, but it's good. I can definitely understand why it's gotten so much praise. I'm not even that far into it, and it's already won me over. I can't get over how good it looks. Just every frame of the comic is just insane. The amount of detail that Miura puts into every panel, it's just nuts. So I will be doing a review of the volume once I'm finished with it. I'm kind of just taking my time and taking it all in. I love just appreciating artwork like that, and just every frame that he does is just so highly detailed. It's hard for me to not stop and just admire the man's work. So it might be a little bit before I put a review up for it, but don't worry, I do plan on doing that. And I'm probably going to continue to collect the Berserk series and probably do reviews of that as I go along. They are kind of expensive, so I'm not going to don't expect this to be a weekly or even a monthly review series for it, but I do want to review Berserk at some point. So that'll be a project I'll kind of work on, kind of a long-term project. But if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it. A little pricey, but in my opinion, it's worth it. All right, so the main topic for tonight that I wanted to discuss was the PlayStation Showcase that premiered earlier this week. If you haven't checked it out, it was about an hour and a half. Well, maybe not quite an hour and a half. It was definitely over an hour long, though. Decent length. Saw a few games announced during the showcase. I just wanted to talk about them a little bit. Excuse me. I can never get my throat to stay clear when I'm doing this podcast. I just kind of want to give my thoughts on just a few of the games I saw. I'm not going to talk about every single game on the list, just a few of them that caught my attention. Sorry. Excuse me. God. Okay, hopefully my throat stays clear. Give me a drink of water real quick. Hopefully that'll help. I'm leaving that in because I'm a lazy editor. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about a few games that I saw during the showcase. So not going to talk about every single one of them, just because a lot of them didn't really catch my attention too much. It looked like it was mostly there were quite a few first game shooter type games or first person shooter type games. First game, what's wrong with me? I mean, they looked okay. I wasn't super invested in them. One that I saw that was interesting was the sequel for Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner 2 is coming out. Looks like it's going to be later this year on the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. I did not play the first one. I know it's supposed to be an incredibly brutal game, but very fun. I think it's you only have one hit, but so do all the enemies. So I think you can take a little bit of damage, but for the most part, it's a one-hit death scenario. and then you have to start like the level all over again. So it's supposed to be very brutal and unforgiving, but also like really rewarding too if you can beat it. I never played it, so I don't know if I'll be picking up Ghost Runner 2 unless it just gets like insanely good reviews, but I don't know if I have the patience for that. I'm not a very patient gamer, so we'll see. One game that really caught my attention was a studio called S Game. They announced a game called Phantom Blade Zero, which is coming out for the PS5. The premise is, I guess, the character you play only has 66 days to live, so I guess you've got kind of a time limit for playing it. This game looks awesome. I definitely got like Dark Souls, Elden Ring vibes watching this trailer. I love the look of the main character you play as with like his silver hair. The sword fights in the game look really awesome too. There's like this really cool like scene where like he's fighting on like a horse-drawn carriage over like a cliffside and stuff, and he's fighting like these two other swordsmen on horses like at the same time. Like, it looks really interesting. It kind of looks like it takes place in sort of like a feudal Japan type era. So it looks interesting there. It kind of has like that Rurouni Kenshin type look. I'm interested in this one. I'm going to keep an eye out for this game. It looks, just the presentation alone has me interested. Another game that caught my attention was Sword of the Sea, which is by developer Giant Squid, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the same studio that made the game Journey. I never played that game, but I really wanted to. I remember thinking that game was like so gorgeous looking, where you're kind of wandering through the desert and stuff. It's mostly a solo game, but you can meet other people, even though I don't think you can really communicate with them. So it's that same studio. I love the visuals of this game. It looks very much like Journey. Kind of has that very simplistic, cel-shaded look to it. But I like how it's very trippy looking, like the scenery. Like you're kind of in like a desert, and you're surfing across like these sand dunes and stuff on your sword. But what's really kind of weird is like it looks like the sand is almost pulsating as you're like surfing over it and stuff. It's an interesting design choice, and I don't know, like it's weird in the trailer, but I could see myself kind of getting into it if I played the game. I definitely am interested in playing this for sure. I also like how it looks like your character is sort of like bringing back water to this dried world. It almost kind of makes me think of like Dune, like Arrakis or something like that. Like you're surfing on Arrakis. But yeah, that game, if nothing else, I love the look of it. Again, presentation, it's definitely got my attention. So I'll be keeping an eye out on this one as well. And speaking of presentation, another game that really caught my interest was Neva, which was announced. Man, the trailer for this one, again, I'm going purely off the art style because we didn't really see any gameplay footage. It was just the cinematic trailer for it, but wow. The art style alone for this game has got me interested. I love the main character. I love her design. I love the wolf with the antlers that's in the trailer. That it looks like she fights some kind of weird like shadow monster and stuff. And then it kind of ends on a pretty sad note, which, real tearjerker to kind of really reel you in. But man, like I'm a sucker for art and art animation. So like the style of this game alone has me invested. So it looks like it's coming out in 2024 to the PS5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch and the PC. So it's not a PlayStation exclusive, but still, I'm definitely interested in this one. One game that I can't say that I'm interested in, but I was kind of surprised by was Foam Stars, which is a 4v4 online party shooter from Square Enix. Not gonna lie, I saw the trailer for it. I was a little surprised. The trailer, the way it starts out, all the characters are kind of in shadow. You can't really see their faces. They're kind of obscured. And I kind of thought, oh, is this gonna be like Final Fantasy VII, like the next game in the series, which I think is supposed to be Rebirth? Like, is this going to be another thing for that? I was like, man, that's crazy since we've already got Final Fantasy 16 coming out in like a month. But no, it's a 4v4 online party shooter, so I will be giving this one the old skipperoo. I'm not into online shooter games. Or online competitive games. I'm not a competitive guy by nature. I like playing my games to have fun. Like, I don't like competing with people, so... And just nothing about the combat in this one really caught my interest. It kind of makes me think of like the way it looked with the characters shooting foam at each other. It made me think of Splatoon, kind of, but like, I don't know. It doesn't really look like something Final Fantasy would make. Even the designs of the characters don't really look like Final Fantasy characters. Like, other than the city that you're fighting in maybe kind of sort of resembling, well, no, I was going to say the city from Final Fantasy VII, but no, I don't even think that's true. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a Final Fantasy VII game to me, I guess. Oh, well, yeah, I don't think I'll be paying too much attention to this game. I think one of the bigger announcements during the showcase was there is a remake of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater coming out. So that's interesting. I think it's the third game in the original series, but from what I understand from Metal Gear Solid, which, full disclosure, is very little, I think the numbers, like the number sequence for the titles is pretty much arbitrary. Like even though they're labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think they kind of take place in a different order. So I don't know. I know next to nothing about the Metal Gear series. Also, full disclosure, I really haven't played any of the Metal Gear Solid games with the exception of Phantom Pain. I'm going to be honest, I kind of missed the boat on that. Like, I was very little when the first Metal Gear came out on PlayStation, and I remember I borrowed it from a friend, but I was like, I don't even remember how old I was. I was like in elementary school, and it just kind of went over my head. I think I was too young to really appreciate it. I couldn't really get into it. I wasn't really into stealth games at that point. So I didn't play 2, I didn't play Snake Eater, I didn't play any of them. I played a little bit of Phantom Pain. I got about 10, 15 hours into that game and kind of lost interest. I mean, I liked it for the most part. I dug the open world sandbox aspect of it, but I don't know, it kind of lost my interest. But I've developed a bit of a appreciation for those kind of games. Like I like Death Stranding because I think the guy, Hideo Kojima? I think he used to work on Metal Gear Solid, I think. So yeah, I mean, I like Death Stranding. I kind of got a little bit into that. Let me see. Was Hideo Kojima? I have to look this up. I think he was involved with Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, I guess I think he used to be part of Konami. I'm not going to do any research on that right now, but yeah, my taste in games has definitely developed and evolved over the years. So I'm sure that like if I went back and tried to play them now, I'd probably have a better appreciation for them. Like I guarantee you, 10 years ago I would have hated Death Stranding, and now it's like one of my favorite games. So, but fortunately for me, even though Snake Eater remake is not coming out until 2024, so we got a little bit of a ways off for that. There is a remake. They're doing a remastered collection of the original Metal Gear Solid games, so that might be a good excuse to finally pick them up and play them. I know I have a lot of friends who they tell me that Metal Gear Solid 2 is like one of their all-time favorite games, so yeah, we'll see. I might have to give those a shot. A few other games announced. Another big one, Alan Wake 2 is going to launch on October 17th of this year on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the PC. Looks like it'll be a digital-only release to keep its price down. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know anything about Alan Wake. I did not play the first game at all. I know nothing about it. The trailer looks interesting. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm not familiar with the Alan Wake games at all, or game. I don't even know how many there are. I assume 2, since this is Alan Wake 2, but yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. It's got some creepy elements to it. It looks like you play a cop in the game who's investigating some kind of cult. There's definitely kind of a Resident Evil 4 vibe going on in this. Like, there's definitely some good, scary jump scares in the trailer for it. You see, like, these weird cultists kind of try to attack the cop. So, and then, of course, the reveal of, I assume it's Alan Wake at the end of the trailer. So, yeah, I mean, I can't say I'll pick this up, but I mean, just based on presentation, it looks interesting. But I told one of my friends about it, and they seem to be really excited about this game, so maybe there's something to it. We'll see. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Mirage, I mean, from what I heard, this game is supposed to go back to, I think, the original Assassin's Creed formula. I think, like, according to the developers, I think it's supposed to be more similar to, like, the very first Assassin's Creed game. I think they're trying to go back to their roots a little bit. I know there's another one that's supposed to be coming out in the next year or so, Assassin's Creed Infinity or something, which is supposed to be like an online game, I guess. So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. After Valhalla, I'm kind of over Assassin's Creed. I just kind of feel like every game is sort of the same. And I mean, I liked Origins. I haven't really played Odyssey, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of done with the Assassin's Creed series for a while. I mean, unless Mirage turns out to be really amazing, we'll have to wait and see. But that game comes out on October 12th of this year on the PS4, 5, and Xbox and PC, so yeah, interesting. We'll see. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I'm a sucker for JRPGs, and this game looks interesting. I've been seeing other trailers for it and gameplay footage for this game, so I will have to keep an eye out for this one. It comes out this winter on the PS4 and PS5, so it looks like it's a Sony exclusive. So, yeah, I'm always looking for a good JRPG to sink my teeth into. So this might be something to just to keep an eye out on, keep in my radar. Street Fighter 6, got another trailer for that one. Never really was into Street Fighter. It looks fine. There's no release date listed on here, so I have like a list pulled up as I'm talking, so I don't see anything about a release date for it. But I mean, it looks like Street Fighter. I'm not a big Street Fighter guy. I'm not really a big fighting game person. The only fighting game series that I've ever really been into was Smash Bros, and that's it. I never really was into Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or whatever, or Tekken, so I know very little about them. That being said, I probably know more about Street Fighter than I do Mortal Kombat. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it's about equal for me. But anyways, yeah, whatever. Dragon's Dogma 2 got a big reveal trailer. Looks like it's still in the works. There's no release date for it, but it is supposed to come out on the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Let's see. Looks like Resident Evil 4 is getting a VR mode. Looks like they released a trailer for that. It's supposed to be available on the PSVR 2, and looks like it's going to be free DLC for the base game. So it's not going to cost anything extra, so that's kind of cool. I still plan on getting Resident Evil 4, and I'll probably do a review for that game at some point in the near future. I mean, that's cool. It looks interesting, although, I don't know, I kind of feel like the third-person over-the-shoulder viewpoint of that game kind of suits it better. Not to say that, like, the first-person can't work for RE4, but I don't know, it's kind of weird not seeing Leon running around in the trailer, so yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's kind of like when they did the reverse for Resident Evil Village, because I have played through that game, and I know they released a third-person mode for it. It's really weird seeing Ethan. I don't know, I can't quite get over it. And also, it's not super fluid, because I know in cutscenes it does switch back to the first person. At least I believe it does from what I've seen from like gameplay footage. It's very odd. I think it's because Ethan is just such he's not interesting looking at all. He looks like such an ordinary guy, whereas Leon looks like, well, he's an iconic Resident Evil character. So it's like, it's weird to not see him in the gameplay footage. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea, I guess. Let me see. Keep going down the list. Let's see. I feel like there was another one before I get to the big topic. Okay, I guess that was it. Yeah, like I said, there were a lot of other games, but I didn't want to talk about all of them just because there were too many to go through. Let's see. Yes, last but definitely not least, the new Insomniac game, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which I believe is supposed to come out September of this year, I believe. It's like in the fall. It's coming out, in a few months. Yeah, we got a new gameplay footage trailer for it, and that was awesome. We get to see more of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, who are both going to be in this game. I thought I heard somewhere there were rumors about co-op play in this. I hope that's true. But in this footage, we get to see more of Kraven the Hunter, who is just a badass in this trailer. I don't know a whole lot about the character. I know that he's considered like a classic Spider-Man villain, and I think there's actually a Kraven movie supposedly in the works right now. So apparently he's a big villain in Marvel, but I'm not very familiar with him. But this trailer does a really good job of establishing him as a pretty threatening menace. Like, we see him hunting down a classic Spider-Man villain, Lizard, who in this, they did a really good job of making him look legitimately terrifying and threatening. It's cool seeing Peter and Miles Morales working together to try to stop Kraven and also protect Lizard in this trailer. I like the little kind of like three-way fight that's going on there. You go through a lot of different locations in just this one gameplay trailer. It's over 10 minutes, but man, like they're going over the bridge in the river. They're fighting through the city and stuff. It's really cool. And there's this really well choreographed chase scene going on. Like, it's really awesome. And then we get to see the Venom suit in full swing in this, as well as we get to see the way it's affecting Peter, the way it's affecting his personality. I like how it kind of ends on a cliffhanger where Miles' friend is asking him about Peter's demeanor. He says, like, is he always like that? And then Miles is like, no, he's never like that, because Peter's just like really aggressive and stuff like that. And he has that badass line where he's going after Lizard, and Miles is like, but Lizard's got some pretty big teeth, man. And Peter's like, yeah, well, so do I. I was like, ooh, damn, that's badass. That Venom suit looks so sick too. and the different abilities you can use with it too. Like, it doesn't just change the color of your webs. Like, you can actually use like his tentacles that come out and you can attack multiple enemies with that and stuff. It's like, God, that's so cool. And I love the attention to detail too. Like, I love how the suit looks like, it almost looks like some kind of like like cellular structure or something. Like, it doesn't look like a regular suit. You can tell just like seeing the sheen off of it from like sunlight and stuff. Like, it actually looks like some kind of membranous texture. And I love that attention to detail. And just like even Peter's voice, like just like his tone, his cadence or something just sounds off when he's talking in that suit. It's so cool. I cannot wait to see what they do with Venom in this game. I'm so excited for this. Like, I love Insomniac's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. I played Miles Morales like earlier this year. That game was amazing. It's very short, but it's so good. Just it in my opinion, it improves on everything from that was good about Spider-Man. And Miles Morales, like his powers to me are just cooler. Like, I love his Venom strike abilities. I love that he can turn invisible, and I don't know, just like it's just they're both awesome games. I love them so much. So I'm very excited for this. Yeah, like this whole showcase just has me really excited for like Sony's lineup right now. Like, they've got some real badass games coming out, both like later this year and early next year, that I'm super stoked about. Yeah, a lot of the games on here weren't necessarily all exclusives to PlayStation, but the ones that were are really good. So yeah, I'm excited for these, and I'm definitely going to keep a lot of these on my radar. But I'm curious, what did you all think? Were there any games on there that you're excited about? Any that you're looking forward to? Please feel free to let me know your thoughts on my YouTube channel. So now I wanted to take some time to give my reaction to the teaser trailer for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that is coming out later this year, October 27th, 2023. So, full disclosure, I have not played any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. I mean, I like scary games, but I know those are mostly, like, I think jump scares. I've seen enough Let's Play videos of them. Like, I know what they're about. I know what happens. So, I mean, I've seen enough people play through the entire game that I pretty much know what's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the series for the most part. At least the first game. The sequels, spin-offs, and all that stuff, I don't know much about. I don't know a whole lot about the game, other than I think it started off as like a pretty small indie game, like what, almost 10 years ago, I think, something like that. It is crazy to see like just how much of a global phenomenon it's turned into. It is funny watching like the videos on YouTube of people playing it and seeing their reactions to the jump scares, and it is a pretty effective game. I always thought it was interesting, like the idea that you're this security guy and you're in this room and you can't really leave that room. And again, I'm just going off the first game. I'm not talking about any of the sequels. I don't know how any of those worked, but in the first game, like pretty much like you're stuck in that room, you're watching these security cameras, and you're just watching these creepy Chuck E. Cheese-ass animatronic monsters slowly move towards you throughout the facility that you're watching. And it's like, it's a simple but very effective formula, and it's fun to watch people just get the shit scared out of them, you know, every time they play it. So I've always appreciated that about the games, even though I never really had the guts to play them. I was always too chicken shit to do it. But the game, or the movie, looks pretty good. It's got Matthew Lillard is in it, as well as Josh Hutcherson, who I haven't seen in, I don't feel like I've seen him in a whole lot of movies lately. So I'm glad to see him back in films. Man, I didn't realize he was like 30 years old. I guess for some reason I keep thinking that he's like this kid. I guess it's because I'm used to seeing him. I remember seeing him in movies when he was a kid, so I guess I still kind of think of him as being a kid. So it's weird to know that he's almost my age. But yeah, the trailer, again, it's just a teaser trailer. We don't get a whole lot from it. We do get to see Josh introduced as the security guard going into Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and I like in the beginning of the trailer, we get to see that it's almost like a 80s style. I assume it was based off of like the old 80s commercials for like the 80s and 90s commercials for Chuck E. Cheese. I remember those old commercials back from when I was a kid. I'm assuming it was based off that. It has like kind of like that grainy footage, like that VHS footage that you would see with like the tracking and all that stuff in there, and so like the static. I like the way the facility looks, how it almost kind of looks dilapidated and run down, and I don't know why you would want to watch a place like that. It just looks so creepy. The scene where Josh is standing in the middle of the room and kind of looking around and stuff like that is like, it's so eerie looking. And then of course the part where he looks behind the curtain and shines a flashlight, and we get to see like the iconic animatronics from the game. And one thing I really liked about this is I like that they made them look pretty much like they do from the game. Like, it's, at least from what I can tell, it looks like it's pretty much a one-to-one comparison between the two. So I appreciate that they're really trying to be true to the source material. That's really cool. I didn't even know this was happening. I kind of thought the closest thing we were ever going to get to it was the Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage, which I still have not seen. One of my buddies saw it and he said it's ridiculous in the best possible way. It's Nick Cage versus Five Nights at Freddy's basically, and it's everything you could hope for. Man, can we please get like a Nick Cage cameo in this? I would really love to see that. That's just insane. Like he's showing up as like a DLC character for Dead by Daylight, I think, and then he had Willy's Wonderland. Like, can we please just get that guy in Five Nights at Freddy's? That would just be so hilarious. Just because he's I don't know, he's such a walking human meme now. It'd be so funny to see him in this thing. But anyways, yeah, like I like that they had that little commercial. I like that the animatronics look pretty much how they do from the game. As far as footage goes in this, we don't get to see a whole lot else. We get to see, I mean, we don't see a whole lot of the animatronics. There's a few clips of them in the scene or in the movie. There's this one scene in the trailer where we see this girl hiding in the ball pit, and then when she looks up, you can see like the animatronics staring down at her, like they know that she's in there. That was a pretty cool, creepy scene. One thing I'm kind of curious about in this is how they're actually going to handle the animatronics themselves. Because I know in the first game, a big part of it was you don't really see them move. The idea is that you have to check the cameras, you have to check each camera continuously, and every time you do, they'll be in a different spot. But you never actually see them move. You'll just, like, one time you'll see Freddy standing in one room, and then the next room and then the next second he'll be in a different room. And it's kind of the same thing with the other animatronics. For the most part, I don't think you see them moving a whole lot. If you do, it's like very, very fast movements. So it looks like in this, we do see there's a few quick shots of them moving. Like we see one of them, like their foot comes down and crushes something. There's a few shots of them, like we actually see them standing there moving and looking around and stuff. So I guess in this, we are going to see them move, which I guess makes sense. In a horror movie, it'd be kind of hard to, at least for something like this, I think it would be kind of hard to have them standing still the entire time when someone is watching them and still be scary. So I guess that makes sense. It does look like there is a moment in the trailer where we see Josh's character gets captured by one of them, and we see it like open its face, and you see like the little spinning mechanisms getting ready to tear him apart. Because I remember that was something else from the game too, like where they want to catch the guard and put him inside one of their bodies so they can essentially tear him apart with the machinery inside. So there's a nice callback to that in the trailer. We see a little bit of that where we see, like, I assume it's Freddy's face opening up to throw Josh in there. So that was interesting. Yeah, there's a few interesting things that happen in this trailer. Again, for being a teaser trailer, I think it does a pretty good job of showing us just enough to make it interesting, but not spoiling too much of what happens. I mean, there's not much of a story. It's just security guard trying not to get killed by animatronic monsters. So, I mean, not much of a story there, but yeah, it's just cool. I think it's cool to see, like, from where this game started, this game series, where it started, from such a humble, simple indie game to becoming this huge phenomenon, and now it's being made into a movie. I think I read that the developer of the game actually did originally want to make this into a movie at some point if it got popular enough. So I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that, this movie franchise, this game franchise has gotten the success like this, and that it's being made into a feature-length film. So that's cool. And it's cool this is going to be in theaters too. I love seeing scary movies in theaters. So I think this might be one that I go check out in cinemas. I think this, even if it's not good, I think it deserves it. I might give it a shot. I mean, unless this movie gets just horrendous reviews, but I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's a very self-aware film. I think it probably knows exactly what it is. It's not going to take itself too seriously. It definitely looks like it's kind of got like that tongue-in-cheek type humor to it. Like, it looks like it's not going to be over-the-top scary, like probably mostly jump scares, and I would imagine probably quite a few inside jokes for people who have played the game. That would be my guess. Again, haven't played any of the games, but I've watched enough gameplay footage of it, like Let's Play videos, that I know it pretty well. I've seen people play through all 5 nights, so I mean, it's not like it's an overly long game. So I'm also curious to see how they're going to handle that whole thing, like the 5 nights aspect of it. Like, is it going to be like 5 consecutive nights back to back, or is it going to be like he works there one night, gets freaked out, comes back a few days later and stays there another night to run security? I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to handle that aspect of it. But either way, yeah, I mean, it looks genuinely creepy. I was kind of worried when I saw the thumbnail on YouTube. I kind of thought like, oh no, is it's just going to look really dumb and stupid. But no, I can honestly say from watching the teaser trailer, it did a good job. It did everything a teaser trailer should do. It got me interested. It actually looks like it stays pretty true to the source material, but also adds enough interesting, unique elements to it that, I don't know, for someone like me who, while I'm familiar with the franchise, I've never actually played it. It looks like it has something in there that could bring me into it as well. Who knows? Maybe this might convince me to go and check out the original series. I'm not sure. I don't actually think I know anybody who's actually played the original Five Nights at Freddy's, any of the games, at least not that I'm aware of. But yeah, October 27th, right around Halloween time, so I think this might be a good one to go grab some popcorn in the cinema and give it a viewing. Well, if I do, you can definitely rest assured I'll give you my review of it, so... But what did you guys think? Does this trailer have you excited for the movie? For those of you out there who are longtime fans of the video game series, does this seem like it's true to the source material, or does this have you a little bit concerned? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section on my YouTube channel. Alright guys, I think that's going to conclude my episode for tonight. Once again, I am on Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. If you like what you heard, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Later.